It's a new year, 2026. It's a year of shining, and I know God has in store for us. It's so great for me and for everyone. And I know you are blessed and you've been protected, and that's my hope. For me, you can see I'm protected, and I bless God for that. So, this idea for many of you will get their God-designed partners, get married, you'll have those weddings that you desired. And the enemy, just to know, is never sleeping. If you think you're sleeping, the enemy isn't sleeping. He is busy at work making sure that these covenants are breaking. Yeah, he's very busy doing that. And so I want to alert you with this video, the first video this year. We're going to talk about what the enemy attacks when you start loving someone God's way. There are things that the enemy is going to attack when you start now loving someone in the right way and God's way. You know, when you start loving someone the way God intended, with patience, with purity, with grace, in truth, don't expect that the enemy will stay quiet. No, you're wrong about that. He won't stay quiet, because godly love is dangerous to hell. It builds what the devil tried to destroy. That's what's happening. It heals what past generation broke. It reflects heaven on earth, and that's exactly what the enemy hates. So the moment you start loving God's way, warfare increases. Not because something is wrong. No, not because you did somewhere or something wrong, but because something holy is being built. So here are ways, and this what the enemy will attack first when you start loving someone God doing. He attacks your unity. That's the first thing that the enemy will start to attack, to break. The enemy knows agreement is power. And when you recall in Matthew 18:19 says, if two of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. The enemy will stir up misunderstanding over the smallest things, over the things that are so petty. When you start loving God's way, he'll make silence feel like distance. He'll twist words, magnify differences, and make you defend your pride instead of protecting your peace. Because the moment you lose agreement, you definitely lose your spiritual authority, and that, don't give the enemy that chance to win over what you're building. The second thing that the enemy will attack will be definitely attack your communication. Your communication will be hijacked, and he does not need to end the relationship. Enemy is very cautious, and his tricks know that the enemy comes to kill, to destroy, and to steal. And so he doesn't have to break you apart, but he just needs to end the connection. That the connection that you started to build for a moment is beside to be broken. He knows when the words stop flowing, love stop and starts to freeze. Love freezes when the words stop flowing. He'll make you assume instead of ask. He'll make you react instead of respond. In Proverbs 18:21, the tongue has the power of life and death. So when you communicate, just know that what you're communicating might break, might build. So be careful, because the tricks and the trap of the enemy are in work. The enemy uses offenses to replace openness. He wants you so focused on being right that you forget how to stay righteous. Remember that. He wants you to stay so focused that everything you do, everything you say, you want to be right, that you forget all about righteousness and how to stay righteous. Because when now pride comes, everything that you've tried to build will break. All that is gone. And now you'll be in the hands of the enemy. So the other thing that the enemy will attack is, he will attack your intimacy. Not just physical, emotional, and spiritual intimacy. To he'll bring business, he'll bring fatigue, he'll bring distractions or unhealed wounds from the past. All these might come, they will come, so that the intimacy that you are building can be broken. So you want to be careful about all that. He will remind you of every reason to shut down, every fear, every past betrayal, every insecurity that you carry. The enemy will definitely remind you of that, because intimacy requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires safety. If he can make you feel unsafe, he can make you withhold love. In 1 Corinthians 7:5, do not deprive each other, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. So the enemy wants distance, but God wants depth. Those are the two differences. The enemy wants distance, but God definitely wants your depth. The other thing that the enemy will attack is that he will attack your prayer life together. You see? Every godly relationship becomes unstoppable when prayer becomes their language. So the enemy distracts one and discourages the other. So when you see the other person is discouraged and is distracted by other things, now you too get discouraged, and that's where the enemy gets you. Suddenly, a prayer feels awkward. You're too tired and too busy and too disconnected. But prayer isn't just communication with God, it's power source of covenant. When you stop praying together, you stop fighting with each other and start fighting against each other. And that's what the enemy wants to bring: an endless conflicts, an endless fights between you and your partner. Ecclesiastes 4:12, a cord of three strands isn't quickly broken. It can't, because God is the third cord making this covenant strong. So the third stand for the presence of God. God is now the enemy will try to break this cord and to cut it fast. The other thing the enemy will attack is that he will attack your identity in the relationship. When you start loving God's way, the devil tries to confuse who you are in the relationship. What's your identity in that relationship? He will whisper, you are not enough, you are not capable, you are giving more than they are. They will make you, there are these voices that will pray in your mind that the enemy will use to tell you and to whisper to you that you are not enough, that you are doing too much than the other person, that maybe you are too emotional, that you are too reacting. These are the things that you are going to hear. Things like you are too spiritual. These are the whispering of the enemy that you will get, so that he can disconnect you from your partner. So you might want to be careful about all this, because the enemy knows if he can get you to question yourself, you'll start performing instead of partnering. You'll stop loving freely and start loving fearfully. But godly love doesn't require performance, it requires presence. So be careful in that, because when you start loving someone God's way, expect resistance. There will be resistance, because that love carries a restoration power. But remember this: the enemy can only attack what threatens him, and a relationship definitely will threaten the enemy. That covenant is going to obviously threaten the enemy. That's why he wants to break it. So this relationship is built on God's foundation, will always be refined by fire. It won't be destroyed by it. So you must increase your prayer life. You must redefine it through prayers, through consecration and all that. So when conflict comes, pray. When misunderstanding arises, pause. When pride whispers, humble yourself, because the same God who joined you is the same God who will sustain you. So I'm going to end this with a chapter in James 4:7. Submit yourself then to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. That's from James 4:7. So try yourself to resist the effort of the devil. He will flee. Try. You are not trying hard enough, but you should try, because don't give the enemy the chance to have you. So the devil can't break what is fully surrendered to God. Guard your unity. Protect your peace at all costs, and keep loving like heaven, because that's the kind of love hell cannot stand. Hell cannot stand this kind of love. So make sure you start and you continue praying, seeking God, and surrendering all unto God, and everything shall stand. I really hope this video helped you a lot, and let it be a thing that you should be cautious when this year goes on, that you should be aware of what's happening and know that the enemy is here to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Guard your heart so that your relationship can thrive in God's way. See you on my next video.